Hey folks, ever been stuck writing a Selenium script and then hit that dreaded no such element exception? Chances are it's not really your code that's the problem, it's how you are reading the page behind the scenes. Today we are going to break down DOM, which is basically the blueprint of any web page. So stick around, I'll show you how to inspect element in the right way. To get started, what exactly is the DOM? So the DOM stands for Document Object Model. Think of it like a map or a family tree of the whole HTML page. Now, Selenium doesn't see the page like you do. It talks to the DOM to find and interact with things. So, if your script wants to be rock solid, you have got to get comfortable with this behind the scenes view, which is nothing but the DOM. Let's consider when you open a website, the browser takes all the HTML code and builds a tree structure in the memory. So this tree structure is nothing but the DOM. So every headline, button, image, they all are node in this tree. They are interconnected to each other in a way that shows how the page is put together. And each of those nodes have their own details like ID, class, names. So every node has details like ID, class, names, and so on and so forth that you can use to tell Selenium exactly where to go. Now, if you want to understand the DOM hierarchy, how it works, let's take a look. So every DOM, every page is a document, which is a HTML document for now. So every HTML document will have two sections, a head and a body. Now, all the things that are written inside your head will not appear in your page directly, but they are kind of a helper to the page. So they help the page to build its identity. Alright, so head is also having two components. One is the title, the second is the meta. The title will hold title of the page, whereas the meta will hold the information about the page. So if you want to optimize, say if you want to do a SEO of your page, you want to optimize the page, or you want to build a more robust identity of your page, so you are going to widely use your meta tags. Coming to the second part, the body, this is where we will be working the most with our Selenium. So it has three components. On the first level, it's a body in itself. On the second level, it has script. It can have division tag. It can have multiple buttons as well. You can also have buttons inside your division tag also. Now your division tag in itself will have a header tag or a paragraph tag. So H1 is a header tag and P is your paragraph tag. Now this can vary. You can have multiple tags H1, H2, H3 until H6. Now the text node inside a paragraph tag tells you that there is some text written inside it. Now to take a live example, let's go to a website and see how a DOM is built for a web page. Now let's take an example of Wikipedia. So here I have the Wikipedia homepage open. Now to tell Selenium that I want to write something inside this text box. How would you tell Selenium? So a easier approach or a very easy approach would be to do a right click and say inspect. Now this opens your dev tool in Chrome. Now every time you want to identify an object or identify an object's property, you are going to click on this button here. You click on this and then you click on the object which you want to identify, or for which object you want to find a property. Say I want to find a property for this text box. I click on this text box, it highlights a code here. If you see, it says it has an ID, which is the search input, that's the name. It has a name also, it has a type as well. Now, how do you tell Selenium that you are going to click on this particular text box? You are going to pass either of the properties from here, which is unique. Say ID is unique to this particular search box. So I'm going to tell Selenium, hey Selenium, find this ID on this page and write something on this page. Alright, so say I write Selenium here. Now what I want to do next, I want to click on this search button. Now similarly, I have to find a unique property for this search button as well. So I'll again go and click on this button. I'll click on this search button and it will take me to this button class. Now this button class also has a class, it has a type, and what I want to do on this button, I want to click on it. All right. So let's understand what is the DOM for this, or what is the hierarchy of objects or hierarchy of HTML tags for this particular text box. I'll just say right click, inspect on this particular object or on this particular line of code. I'm again going to do a right click here and I'll say copy. I'll say copy full XPath. Now I have the XPath copied with me. Let's paste it somewhere. Let's have a notepad here and let's paste this. So it says HTML body main div2 form field set division and input. All right. Now to understand this, what are we referring to? It is referring to each and every HTML tags that we have here. So the very initial tag is my HTML tag, which is my document tag. Inside this, like we had seen in the presentation, we had a header tag and we had a body tag. Now if you compare it with the PPT, we have the document tag, then we have header and body tag. Now similarly, we have the document tag, then we have the header and body. So if you go inside header, you will see meta, you will see titles. Okay. And all other things written here are a support tag for this particular web page. They help to build the web page, they help to optimize the web page. Okay. Now my area of attention is inside body. So I'm going inside body. Now from here, I want to hit, if you understand this hierarchy, I am inside HTML, then I am inside body. Now after that, I am going towards main tag. So this is my main tag here, right here. Now inside main tag, you need to go to the division tag, and if you see a square bracket and a number here, so this represents the occurrence of the division tag. So I'm going to hit the second occurrence. Okay. So my division tag, this is my first division tag, this is my second division tag. I'm going to open this, and inside this I want to hit what? Forms. So if you go here, you see forms, field set, and again a division. So I have a form here. Inside this is field set. Inside this is the division tag, and inside this is the input tag. So this is my input tag here. All right. So this is how Selenium is going to identify objects in your page. Okay. So right now we did it in a very holistic approach. We came from the initial tag and we just traversed all the tags and we found our tag, whichever we are trying to focus on. So let's say we have figured out this is the element that I am going to refer to. Now, how do I get the property of it? Or while we are traversing, how do we figure out that whatever we are trying to look for is the correct DOM or is the correct element, right? So to do that, right now what I'm doing, I'm just using the Chrome's reference to this particular HTML tag and I am just trying to search it. So I'm just copying the XPath, and to search whether the XPath is correct or not, we just have to click Control F. This is the search bar that opens. If you just paste whatever you have copied, it would highlight the actual element that is being referred to using that XPath. All right. So if I am going to remove this input from here, if I just say the division tag, so it highlights the whole area here. Now inside this, what I want to do, I want to focus on the input tag. And what I want to do here, I want to enter something, and after this I want to click on the search button. So let's take the Selenium approach, how we are going to design this in our Selenium script. So moving on to the Selenium side, let's open PyCharm. Let's create another file here. I'll say Python file. I'll name it as, I'll say DOM example. DOM example.py. Now my first statement will be from Selenium import WebDriver. I'll just say driver is equals to WebDriver.chrome. All right. And I'll say driver.get. What is the web page that I'm trying to hit? I'm trying to hit wikipedia.org. So I'm going to paste the same thing here. Now this will open Wikipedia. Now the next thing that I want to do is I want to write something in the search box. So how do I find the search box? To find the search box, let's take a variable. We'll name it as search is equals to, we'll say driver dot find underscore element. And right now what we want to do here is, when we were searching for this element, we saw it has an ID here. So if a HTML tag has an ID, you can directly use the ID for that particular object. You don't have to bother about the XPath. All right. So ID is something which is unique to that particular tag, so it hardly changes. The recommendation is, if you have ID, use the ID properties, because searching with ID is very fast rather than searching it with XPath. Okay. So I have an ID. It says search input. I'll say find element, and then I'll open a bracket. I'll say by dot ID. And what is the value of ID that I want to search? I have copied it. I just pasted search input. All right. So now my search box variable will hold the search input text box that I saw on the page. Now what I want to do next on the search input, I want to write something, right? So I'll say search box dot send keys, and I'll write here, instead of Python, I'll say Selenium. Now this will write Selenium in my search box. Now let's first run this. Now if you see, there is an error here. So why? Because I haven't imported the by keywords, right? So I imported this. Now let's run this. So it opened. Oh, it's closed. Now the thing is, when you run Selenium without any alterations, so it would open Selenium, it would perform the actions, and it will close. Now to make sure that the window remains open after execution, we'll have to tweak our code, or we'll have to add a property to our browser instance. So before we initialize our WebDriver, I'm going to add 2 more lines of code, which is adding the Chrome options. Okay. It says error here. I'm just going to say import this, and this would be selenium.webdriver.chrome.options. Okay. And the value that I am adding is detach is true. While we are initializing our WebDriver, I'm going to pass this Chrome options here. Okay. I'll say options is equals to Chrome options. All right. So what this line of code will do, from line 5 to 7, it would push your WebDriver to not close the browser instance after your execution. All right. Let's run this again. What it did. So if you see, it opened, it wrote Selenium here, right? Now, if you want to see this in action, if you want to again slow down your script, we had seen we wrote time.sleep, right? So similarly, I'm going to use it here also. I'll say time.sleep. Now let's run this again. It opened your page. Now you don't see anything written here, right? 5 seconds, and it will write Selenium here, and it will close your execution. What happened here? Oh, I didn't specify a time here. Yeah. Now let's rerun this. My bad. Okay. So it waits for 5 seconds, writes Selenium, ends your execution. All right. So let's close all the browsers that I have opened. All right. So this is how you are going to identify your object, or identify a particular HTML tag or a object from a web page and use it in your Selenium. You are always going to run through your HTML objects model or the document object model and figure out which is the property that you are going to use and what way you are going to use. So this is a very plain and simple example where you just were able to find a text box directly. There are instances where you have it inside a frame, inside an iframe, or you might also have it like a page inside a page. Okay. So we'll see all of those examples in our more advanced lectures when we are talking about it. But for now, just understand, whenever you are going to inspect in your DOM, you should be able to highlight your object and then use the same property inside your script. Now, to summarize, what are the best practices in your DOM? Always right click and inspect your element before you use it in your script so that you understand the structure. Always look for unique IDs or name. They won't change very often, but the XPath can change. So if you have a unique ID or a name assigned to your tags, make sure you use them first. Now, every time you are trying to figure out which object you are trying to hit, make sure that you search them in the console and then use it in your script, and avoid using super long XPath. Okay, keep it simple and so that it is very stable. All right. Now we'll talk more on how to identify objects in our upcoming lecture. I'm going to wrap it up here. So we'll see in the next video, we are going to dive into different ways to locate this element quickly and more reliably. So if this helped you, hit the like button, subscribe and share it with anyone else who is trying to get better at automation. And then I'll catch you in the next one. So this is Learn with Psudo, making automation easier one step at a time. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.